Welcome to our discussion today on e-invoicing and the risks of non-compliance. I'm joined today by Mark Bradfield from Documation and John Paul Jonker from Thomson Reuters Pagero. Mark's worked with Documation for over 25 years and has a wealth of experience across all aspects of finance process automation, and he's our go-to expert at Documation for e-invoicing. John Paul is the partner manager for Thomson Reuters Pagero and worked at various companies in the e-invoicing space since 2000. So thank you both for joining me today.
No problem.
We're going to kick straight off with a little introduction about what we're going to talk about today, and then I shall just be asking John Paul and Mark a couple of questions that hopefully will cover the topics that we've talked about in our promotion of this discussion. And there'll be a chance, if you need to just drop a question into the Q&A at any time. So here we go. Invoicing is the future, but it's complex. It's like a spider's web of networks, models, interoperability and clearance. So how do you cut out the noise and find out what it means for you? And what are the risks of non-compliance? E-invoicing will have a cost, both financially and to your resources. The impact of mandates to your finance team will be significant, but non-compliance could be a bigger headache. So the idea of this webinar is to give you an overview of the challenges you face trading with mandated countries, how you can mitigate them, and how there may even be a silver lining. So what's on the horizon? John Paul, can you pick that up? What's coming up?
Yeah, sure. I think you know the answer, Julia. There's a lot in the calendar already, but even more to come in the next few years. I think everyone has been following the invoice space. We got Belgium, France, Poland on the radar, and a bit later Spain. But as you know, the VITA legislation was approved this year. It means every EU member state will introduce e-invoicing and e-reporting in coming years. And even the UK, while not being an EU member state, will join that bandwagon. So, on one hand, we have a calendar that provides some guidance. We know there are more countries coming up, but the calendar is also very volatile. I think if you look 2 weeks ago, there was a rumor of the French mandate being delayed, only to be reconfirmed a bit later. That really causes a lot of stress for companies that look into the mandates. Then again, if you look at Belgium, 80% of the companies not ready yet, 7 months ago. That also means that if you don't look at it today, you're going to miss out because there's not going to be any capacity left at the end of the year to connect you. But it also increases the stress with companies. When do you have to start, when do you have to look into it? And adding to all that stress about timelines, and you look, for example, at Poland, which has a huge impact on many companies. Specifications should be available in Q1. Now they will be available in June. But the deadline to start is still the same. So that only means shorter timeline to implement, and also raises questions about will this mandate will be delayed? What if I'm not compliant before the mandate timeline? So a lot of volatility in the market. And you really should look into a solution that can help you actually be agile. So if one country slips, that you can still continue with another country. So you can still keep going on with invoicing implementation and not stopping and being stuck when a mandate is delayed. I think that's the main message here, looking at the calendar.
Okay, and if you're not ready and therefore not compliant, what happens? What does that actually mean for a business if they're not ready and a mandate does come in?
Well, that's a good question, and that depends country by country. I think in general we can see that most mandates being introduced, they focus on e-invoicing first, and then actually the penalties are the same as in the paper PDF area. So if you don't send a compliant invoice, you get a penalty. It's going to be the same in the invoice world. It's more on the AP side. If you can't receive the invoice, if you can't handle it in your process, then you can't reclaim your VAT. So that's sort of an indirect penalty, I would say.
Yeah.
That all changes when e-reporting comes into play. Because then you really have penalties if you don't report invoice fast enough to the government, and then you see additional penalties coming into play. So that's something to think about for the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Mark, this is probably a good question for you. What do you need to do to prepare for e-invoicing?
Okay, thanks, Julia. So if you've already got AP automation in place, it's about looking at your gap analysis and determining where e-invoicing fits. So what regions, countries do you operate? and that will help you determine what mandates apply to you and what need to be addressed. And you can obviously consider the timeline that John Paul's just outlined there. And you need to consider what needs to be done from your point of view around the accounts payable piece in terms of receiving invoices, but also around the accounts receivable is about sales and sales ledger, issuing invoices out to your customers. So this will involve approaching your automation solution provider and e-invoicing partner to establish what tools and network registrations you need and connections you need. So this might be, if you've already got one, great. If not, it might mean selecting an e-invoicing provider if you're not already established one. From a documentation perspective, we partner with Thomson Reuters Pagero for the e-invoicing. That complements our P2P solutions and AR solutions to give us that e-invoicing capability. They bring to the party, a well-established and expanding open network platform, huge experience in mandate compliance knowledge, and have an exceptional position in the worldwide invoicing processing space for government compliance and certification. So with Documentation and Pagero together, we can really fully automate your solution. If you haven't got automation in place already, it's looking at that in terms of evaluating what you need. What are your current processes? Where would AP automation fit? And also AR automation, defining your requirements and objectives for that automation, building up a business case and obviously a budget, and then selecting the right provider and software that needs to meet that your current and your future needs, considering what mandates are coming in online from an e-invoicing perspective, but also what you're already processing that you would like to automate to drive that platform.
So benefits that can be had if there are no mandates forecast, what are those, Mark?
So the benefits. So if there are no mandates forecast, you're looking at AP automation and potentially processing e-invoices that haven't got a mandate. PEPOL, for example, and so on and so forth. There are networks out there you can take advantage of e-invoicing. So you're looking at the benefits of automation through streamlined and touchless processing, so straight through processing, improving efficiencies, reducing costs, improving fraud protection and detection, improving your visibility and controls, and increasing compliance, not just around e-invoicing, but from a UK perspective, your HMRC compliance and reporting, how you're processing and storing documents, and reducing that risk of loss of documents and adherence to your business processes and best practice, and also upskilling your AP team so they can add more value, if you like, rather than doing data entry and so on. They can add more value through supply relationship management, spend analysis, and so on. So they're the benefits you can have. Adopting e-invoicing in advance of a mandate will obviously strengthen your automation process because you're dealing with electronic invoices, of course. It'll allow you to reap the benefits of the AP automation and the e-invoicing. And as John Paul implied earlier, there's going to be a big rush at some point for everybody to get connected to these mandates. So to get things in place now and to get connected will avoid any rush and any stress you might have to experience when everybody tries to do the same thing. So it's mitigating that risk of doing that. And obviously onboarding with a mandate early. Yes, the mandate might change, but at least if you're connected, you can navigate that change a lot easier once things are in place and you are connected.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. That's really interesting. Just as a note, I watched something on e-invoicing yesterday on a webinar, and one of the points they were making was one of the biggest mistakes companies make are that they think their ERP can actually cope with a lot of the e-invoicing processing. But of course, it's really important to say that whilst it has a certain capability, it doesn't have the up-to-date mandate information and laws and changes and all of that. So yes, there are limited processing advantages of your ERP system, but it absolutely will not cover everything that an AP automation and partner like Thomson Reuters Pagero will cover as far as the mandates and compliance and changes in law and everything. So
absolutely,
it's really important.
Yeah, it's keeping abreast of those changes, and that's something we can do to help, rather than have a team of people monitoring that internally. But that's where documentation and Thomson Reuters Pagero can come and help you do that and navigate that now and into the future as new mandates come online, but also existing mandates change.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Yeah, so e-invoicing is going to have a cost. There's no getting away from that, and it's going to require process changes too, and it can't be avoided. But is there a silver lining, John Paul? Can you help me with that?
Well, you're definitely right, Julia. These mandates, they come with a cost in companies. And that's not only investing in the e-invoice solution, but also, like you said, changing the process. And we've seen in Poland, where the Polish government's going to provide a unique number, which both the supplier and the buyer have to use payment reference. That has a huge impact on everybody in the supply chain. So yes, those costs are there. On the other hand, if you look, for example, at Belgium, within 7 months, all your suppliers and buyers are going to send you electronically. And that's something that nobody would ever dreamt of 5 years ago. 100% adoption, everybody's sending, receiving. So that opens a lot of opportunities for increased automation, like Mark said. And that's something nobody seems to factor in when you look at the e-invoicing case. That are really clear benefits when you get the 100% e-invoicing in. I think on top of that, if you're choosing for a solution which is agile and can help you with global compliance, so you choose a solution that can not only help you in one country, but helps you throughout your organization worldwide. And you also have the flexibility to swap countries and fast forward them. So if a mandate is, let's say, delayed, you can just look at another country and pull that one forward without then having resources being underutilized, or you pay for a license not in use. That's something which you typically see if you're choosing local providers. If you use a global platform, you have the flexibility. And then let's take one example. We had a customer with the Polish mandate, it was delayed last year. We looked at the countries, we forwarded Finland, where even without a mandate, they had 80% e-invoice adoption already. So that was a great, let's say, benefit for them. They could use that one forward. They could use the learning of the Finnish project in the coming Polish mandate. So that's again helping them being for the next time being smarter and faster. So you have to build in the agility in the solution, look at your roadmap, and then you can avoid hitting any roadblocks when your timelines are shifting. So I think anyway, like Mark said, as those mandates change, not only on the timeline, but they keep changing over time, you must see it as an ongoing project. It's not a one-off IT exercise, just connecting your ERP system and you're ready. It's an ongoing project which is going to be, let's say, evolving for at least the coming 10 to 15 years. And if you look at with that approach at e-invoicing, then you're also going to be safe with any change actually that is going to happen in this mandate calendar where we started off with the discussion.
Yeah. Thank you. So really, to sort of wrap up our discussion today, e-invoicing is coming for you, and it's not simple. That's a given. To take away the pressure of understanding that ever-changing requirements and deadlines of each country you can work with a solution partner, and one that offers you both the technology and the compliance all in one. As you people that have joined our webinars before, we're offering information here. We're not saying that we're the only people that do this, but we're just giving you an option, to say, talk to us if you'd like to find out more. We do offer that. We have the automation as part of AP and AR, and we work with Thomson Reuters Pagero to make sure that the compliance and the technology is all there for you to be able to sit comfortably knowing you are up to date and regulated with your e-invoicing, and that you can do everything that you need to do as the mandates change and become live. So this will ensure that your organisation is ready to receive and send e-invoices, and it won't put this extra pressure on your team. It will give you the agility to flip priorities from one country to another and focus on the inevitable changes in mandates as they occur. And you'll know that you'll remain current and compliant, and most importantly, integrate with your finance system and have the full visibility right the way through. So thank you both Mark and John Paul today for all your help. If you'd like any more information, drop us a line on the listening team at documation.co.uk or visit our website. And if you'd like a direct contact with John Paul for any questions, drop us a line and we can hook that up for you. thank you very much for attending today, and we hope to see you again soon. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you.